Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2002 movie Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams. So, in this movie, Carmen and Junie are now full-fledged spies for the OSS, Organization of Super Spies, and part of the Spy Kids program, and level 2 agents, and they end up going on a new mission to save the world from a mad scientist living on a volcanic island populated by imaginative creatures that he created. And on this bizarre island, none of the Cortez's gadgets work, and they must rely on their wits and each other to survive and save the day. This movie is a lot of fun. I absolutely love Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams. It's been one of my favorites ever since I was a little kid. Well, not little kid, I was like 10 years old when this movie came out, so I guess I wasn't really little, but ever since I was a kid, I saw this movie in the theater and just absolutely fell in love with it and everything. And I was like a casual fan of the first Spy Kids when it first came out. I liked the movie and everything and was just going to wait for DVD, and I ended up going to see it with a relative and had a really great time with this movie. One of the few good memories I have with that person. And everything. So looking back on it now, I was really afraid that this movie wasn't going to hold up very well because of the effects and all that and everything, because Robert Rodriguez used a lot of really cheap CGI in the movie and everything. But like with the first one, the bad CGI kind of adds a charm to this movie and everything, and the creatures' designs and the way they move kind of are a throwback to like older adventure movies like 10 Million Years BC or Journey to the Center of the Earth, the older version and stuff. It kind of reminded me like they were trying to recreate that and stuff with the animation, and it worked somehow. Usually movies like this I don't usually give passes on and stuff, but for some reason the cheap CGI just adds to the charm of these movies and everything. And the story is a lot of fun, and even though it does have a lot of CGI, there is still a lot of practical sets and props and stuff too, so this movie kind of balances out a little bit. And it had a much bigger budget too, so the CGI is a lot better, and it is at least a PS2 looking CGI instead of PS1 like some of the CGI in the first one. And I feel like the adventure is just a lot more fun in this movie. Going to this island where they can't use their gadgets and stuff is just a really cool concept, and it's executed pretty well and everything. Although we find out that the mad scientist isn't really a mad scientist very far into the movie and everything. We find that out pretty quickly once they get to the island, that he's just a guy that created some creatures, and he's scared to go out on his island because he's scared of his own creatures and stuff. And he was good in here. He's played by Steve Buscemi, and he's just absolutely great in this movie, which Steve Buscemi is one of my favorite character actors. You add him in a movie and it automatically at least makes the movie a little bit better and everything, but he's great in here. This is one of my favorite characters of his. One of the first characters that I really started knowing who Steve Buscemi was and everything, but I had already seen him in a few things before this one and everything. And they had quite a few other people. Christopher McDonald replaces George Clooney as the president in this movie. I guess they just couldn't afford to get George Clooney to have a more than just a little cameo in this one. And that's why, because he's in both of the other two, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Christopher McDonald does a fine job as the president. And then you got Holland Taylor, and I can't remember the guy that plays Khan in the Star Trek movies. He's great as the grandpa in these movies. I absolutely love him in here. his name is Ricardo something. I just cannot remember. I never can remember his last name, but I love him in the Spy Kids movies and everything, especially this one, and everything. Although he has a bigger part in part 2, or I mean part 3, but yeah, this is a really, really fun time, and there's a lot of really fun moments too in here. That, like I said, the scene when they're falling down the volcano is a lot of fun, and you get the scenes where they're like riding on those things that look like magnets. I don't know what they're called, but that scene is a lot of fun, and just a lot of really fun adventure scenes throughout the whole thing with the creatures and everything. It's just a really fun time and everything, and like I said, it holds up pretty well. Like I said, the CGI doesn't, but it also kind of adds to the charm of the movie. The movie is kind of corny, and there are a lot of really silly jokes in here that were aimed at the kids in the audience and stuff, because this movie was really popular with kids and everything. I would know because I was one back then and everything. This was like the perfect family movie to come out in my childhood. Is like one of my favorite ones that the whole family could enjoy and everything. And everything has enough good adult jokes in here to entertain the adults too and everything. And Robert Rodriguez balanced it out the best in the first movie with it being a family movie but also being more fun for adults. This one has a lot more jokes aimed at adults and stuff, so I do get why some adults and stuff would say the first one is better and everything. I just feel like the story and expansion of the world and everything is so good in this one that it just makes it a little bit better than the first one and everything. But this is a really great sequel, and it holds up really, really well, and the performances from the kids are still really pretty good and everything. Like I said, their chemistry is a lot better in this one because they get along and everything, so they work really good together, and they still don't get along all the time, but they do for the most part and everything, and I love that about it and everything. They got the family. They doubled down on the family stuff in the sequel, but they do add more family members too. Like I said, the grandma and grandpa are added in here and stuff, and that was pretty cool too. I just wish we could have seen more action with the parents and the grandparents, because they kind of don't really get in on the action until the end of the movie and everything, kind of like with the first one and everything. But at least they are actually in this movie. Compared to the third one, which I'll get into when I review that one later on this week or something. But for what this is, it's a really fun time. It's a good movie with a good story, lovable characters, and just everything a good sequel should be. It expands everything from the first one, and it just really brings this world of spies and stuff out really well and everything. It's just a really fun time. So I give Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really, really fun time. It's not the best movie ever or anything, but it's a fun time, and it's probably my favorite out of the whole franchise. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.